Recently, I did a story about a solo female traveler who went hiking through the dense jungles of Cambodia and was last seen at a beach party before ultimately she was missing. And now the worst. So I want to start very seriously and I want to be as empathetic as I can. This young woman, she was found dead. They believe she drowned. The body of missing British backpacker Amelia Bainbridge found in Cambodia. To her friends and family, I'm tremendously sorry for your loss. And I'm upset, at a lot of how the media, individuals on YouTube, praise this solo female traveling and just solo traveling in general. I have extensive experience traveling the world. I've worked with security companies. I've covered dangerous things, and I'm really angry. And I want to make sure that to anybody who's watching this, in no way do I want to push any negativity on her or family. I'm sad about this, and I think there's real people to blame here. These vloggers who lie about what's really going on. So many people on YouTube pretend that everything's always Skittles and candy canes and beautiful and pretty because that's what sells. They advise these young people to take these dangerous trips and it results in a loss of life. So let me give you the update on what happened to Amelia Bainbridge. And again, my condolences to her friends and family. And I want to use this as an opportunity as like a warning to explain to you. I got another article. I'm grateful now that the media is stepping up and saying, please take this seriously. You cannot just go hiking through these dense jungles and to these foreign countries and rural areas. It is not safe. In this instance, she drowned. That could happen to anybody, so I get it. But let me read this update for you and then we'll talk about it. They say, the body of a 21-year-old British backpacker who disappeared in Cambodia about a week ago was discovered at sea more than 30 miles from where she vanished. Amelia Bainbridge never returned to the Nest Beach Club hostel following a party about 40 minutes away at Police Beach in Koh Rong. Got that one. She was last seen at the gathering early on October 23rd. Chuan Naren, the police chief of Pri Sihanouk province, confirmed that Bainbridge was found dead. We found the body of the missing British woman, Naren said, adding that the remains would be taken to nearby Sihanoukville. Police declined to speculate on what happened to her, but earlier this week, Naren said she may have drowned according to a report, so maybe. I have had the most horrific confirmation that my sister Amelia Bainbridge was found and she is no longer with us. That's what her brother said. It breaks my heart to let all my close friends and family know the horrendous outcome that we didn't want. Now we have to get our Amelia home to England so we can lay her beautiful soul to rest and to remember the wonderful life she lived. Thank you for all the support we've had. Please continue to do all you can so we can get all our family home with Amelia safely. Brother Harry Bainbridge also confirmed on Facebook he identified the body. It's my little sister Amelia, he wrote. This is a really sad story. There's nothing more I wanted than to bring her back alive. I'm so sorry to you, Amelia Bainbridge. The round is on me when we meet again in heaven. 6 men, all said to work at local bars and tourist destinations, were being questioned Tuesday by the 21-year-old's disappearance, but all were found to be uninvolved and were released without charges, the outlet reported. It's very simple in this story, and it could have happened to anyone and anywhere. She maybe just went into the water to swim, and she drowned, and it happens. And that's why there are so many beaches in the United States where it's safe, where they say lifeguard needs to be on duty, otherwise you can't go in the water. You might think you're confident, you might think you're safe, but it is good to have a lifeguard. And if that's the case, then it's not so much about her being a solo female traveler. It's more just about these things happen. So it's a sad story and it's regrettable. I often think about these stories and about that 1 second moment where you could have done something different and saved that life and prevented this from happening. And it's horrifying. But now we have this story from Independent. And they're not the only one who wrote this. There's a bunch of other outlets writing about this. No matter how careful you are, women travelers are never truly safe. The disappearance of backpacker Amelia Bainbridge is a reminder for all female travelers. There isn't a place in the world where being a woman isn't inherently dangerous. I understand you want to make this a feminist issue. The reality is men are more likely to be victims of violent crime. But let's be real. Men are more likely to be the perpetrators as well. And men, in my opinion, are more likely to be able to fight back or to survive. But it really does depend. I think women have a unique danger. There's something unique to women, the danger they face. So I appreciate this, okay? But I do believe it can affect everybody. But I also must stress, I think women have a very particular there's a particular danger they face that needs to be talked about. Let's read. They say 200 soldiers and police have been involved in the search for Amelia, who is from Sussex. Her family have arrived on the island and 6 local men are being questioned. Well, we now we know what happened. Okay, we know. But let's move on from this story. The police have vowed the hunt will continue until she's found. We know she was found. In recent years, we've seen a recurrent trend of young female British backpackers going missing while traveling abroad, or being assaulted, or even murdered. In 2018, 22-year-old Essex backpacker Grace Millane was murdered in New Zealand. Mia Ayalif Chung, 21, from Derbyshire, was stabbed to death in Australia. In 2014, Hannah Witheridge, 21, from Norfolk, was murdered while backpacking in Thailand along with her male friend David Miller. Before her death, she was also assaulted. The day after I turned 21, I went to Costa Rica for a week by myself. My mom's friend was living a few miles away from my accommodation, but I spent a lot of time without her. I grew up with a strict, cautious dad, and his safety rules had stuck. I insisted on seatbelts in cars, helmets on bikes. I didn't carry lots of money on me, and I listened to my instinct when it came to things I did and didn't do. Amelia's father also says he spoke to her about safety. But even after taking those cautions, I was never truly safe. She says that her bikini top and shorts could have been deemed provocative, asking for it. A 2-minute walk from a restaurant to my room after dark may have also been an empty dirt path with waiting, watching eyes. The camera I wore on my neck was also a beacon blaring out of my backpacker status. That is so frustrating to hear. So frustrating to hear. There are pickpocketers, there are thieves, and they prey upon the weak and people showing off their wealth. You go to these places, they know you're a Westerner, they know you probably got an ATM card, you have money, and you're wearing an expensive camera. She says I was young, not stupid, and had anything happened to me, I wouldn't have deserved it. It wouldn't have been my fault. Wearing the clothes I wanted and walking the route I wanted should have been a right, not a risk. But I was always at the mercy of a terrible decision by an awful stranger or a violent group of men. Should be a right. Unfortunately, in this world, rights mean very little to dangerous, terrifying people. What we have in this country is a recognition of rights, but not everyone agrees on everything. There are a lot of people who don't believe free speech is a right. They disagree on what free speech really is. But we enshrine it in law to prevent the government from taking away those rights. Guess what? Every day in this country, we have violations of rights from people to people. From Antifa punching someone in the face for expressing themselves legally, to a violent, creepy individual kidnapping a young girl and seizing her autonomy and then ultimately her life. It happens. People will take your rights away. A lot of things should be protected by physical reality, but they're not. It's not how it works. In the real world, anyone at any moment can walk up to you and take everything away. And guess what? In Cambodia, what is anyone going to do about it? When you go to the middle of the wilderness in the United States, what is anyone going to do about it? Think about this. We can complain about these foreign countries, and it's true, in some of these cities, you're less safe than you are in the United States. But what do you think happens if you went to Wyoming, went to Montana, went hundreds of miles out in the middle of nowhere, and walked in the woods, and someone else was there and decided to take your life from you and end your rights? No one will ever know, and nothing can be done about it. Maybe in 50 years they might find it. I was driving through I believe Wyoming, and it was like 100 miles between a gas station, and I didn't even recognize the gas station because it was so small. Imagine being 100 miles from the nearest anything. Your rights can be taken away. So you want to talk about fault? When you're in the middle of nowhere, when you've chosen to go by yourself to a foreign country, there is significant risk. These are choices you make, and you must be responsible for your decisions. Let's talk about responsibility. This young woman, they believe she drowned. No one hurt her. So whose fault was it? Are we going to say it wasn't her fault that she drowned? Dude, if you go into the water, you acknowledge the risks. No individual took her rights away. She chose to go there. She chose to go through the jungle, and she chose to go to that beach. So whose fault is it? I'm not trying to be mean. It was an accident. Maybe you can say no one was really at fault, but I think we must acknowledge if you tell young people it's not your fault when there was no one else involved, I'm sorry. This is not a case of a flood. If you drown in a flood, it's not your fault, right? But if you go to the flood and you drown, they will say, why would you do that? You have some responsibility here. I can appreciate that they're telling you you won't be safe. At the bare minimum, thank you. But I do think they're absolving people of their true responsibilities and taking care of themselves. It's a sad story, and I'm sorry to do this update. I'm sorry this is what it came to, but it's unfortunate and it happens. If you want to travel the world, you have a lot of research to do, and you've got to be prepared. And it's not just about what should I, consider in the wilderness. What's specific to Cambodia? What's specific to Dubai? You've got to look at the localities, and you've got to look at the recent news. I'll leave it there. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m.